This is our second and final game for today. We'll see how long it goes. It might be a short stream if that's the case. It might be a 45 minutes chat. In the past, I've given games an hour. They don't always make it to an hour. The last one, obviously, we're at the half-hour mark. So we'll see how much this one does. But first, some info about Methods, the Canada files. This one's a bit older. It was released February of last year. It's on Steam. It's still considered early access, although from what I've seen, I don't think the developers are like actively working on it. It's currently priced at $14 Canadian. It's part of a series called Methods, and the whole plot of this series is you take on the role of a group of detectives and criminals in who've already been convicted in prison make up a fictitious case for detectives to solve. If the detectives can solve it, they get $1 million. If the detectives cannot solve it, the criminals get released on parole. I'm not sure who thought of this, who thought this was a good idea to, have former axe killer make up something and possibly get parole for it. But that's what they're doing. So yeah, they've got a couple other games in the series. This one's a spin-off, and they do also have a couple horror-style games. I think one was more of a traditional horror game, and one was a visual novel-style horror game. They've got a couple games. They actually recently put out a free-to-play version of Methods, so if people want to try something outside of this demo, they did release a free-to-play version of Methods earlier this year. Alright, with that, let's open up the files. It looks like we only get one file in the demo, but if we had the full version, there's 6 files. This one's in Vancouver, and it's difficulty 2 stars. I have no idea how many stars it goes up to. I would guess 5, but I have no idea. We're gonna open the Vancouver files.
There's no Ontario?
There might be, because it's the demo. I can't see what the others are. They're just locked.
So we start in Vancouver?
Yeah. I assume we just get the one file, and maybe we can play all the way through it in the demo, but we'll
see. Okay.
Yeah. Chapter 1, Nothing Was Learned. I had to click there. Crank up the audio on this one a little bit for you guys, because I don't think you guys are getting that when it was black screen. And there's... Oh, I guess because it's a competition, there's someone here monitoring us. And you are? You want to be... I believe the detective's supposed to be a woman for this one. Do you want to be the detective?
My name is Larika Downs.
How long have you worked as a detective?
Probably not long enough.
Very well. If you don't want to answer, no worries at all. What is your method of solving crimes?
Is that something that is relevant?
I love that this whole interview is taking place in a high school gymnasium.
I know.
It's so weird. This is all the budget we had. Yes.
It's a method I like to rely on.
We'll move on then. But if you continue to be vague and skip too many questions, I can't guarantee you'll be admitted into the contest.
Contest? I'm not really interested in being in a contest.
Then why did you apply?
Apply?
This is an interview for applicants for the detective competition.
Detective competition?
I don't think we're winning.
How would that work?
Detectives compete to solve mysteries in hopes of winning $1 million. The mysteries are constructed by criminals. Final round, if the top detective loses, the criminal gets to walk free. That is the contest you applied for. Does any of that ring a bell?
So you're admitting to running what is clearly an illegal contest to my face?
There's nothing illegal about it, I assure you. Just take my word. It's all above board. How did you get in here?
Through the door. I thought there would be something interesting. I would absolutely do this.
I thought there'd be something interesting inside this high school gymnasium.
Seems I was right.
The door? All the doors are blocked without proper authorization. The only other way in is through our secret...
Yes, secret what? I've changed my mind. I'm interested in your legal contest after all.
End of demo.
Alright, stream's over, let's go.
Right, I have to click through the... File 1, Chapter 1, nothing was learned. Detective Larica Downs entered the Canadian Detective Competition after managing to make it through 3 stages. The 4th stage is about to... We're just skipping... We won 3. We just skipped all that. This does not look how I thought it would look after that first bit. Move around. This is your captain speaking, aka me, the game master. Ready for the 4th stage of the wonderful Canadian Detective Competition. Nobody responded. We've been in the airplane for about 7 hours. We flew Air Canada, so it really sucked. Stages. Okay. We've had 3 stages so far, 5 rounds in each stage. We've been told there were 10 teams in total. Now only 5 remained. Similarly... Oh, that's why there's 6 cases. Each one, I guess, eliminates a team, and then the last one's the final case against the criminal. My team had started off with 10 members. Now we're a team of 5 detectives. Nice and compact. Nobody feels like saying anything? Not a problem. I won't bother you for much longer. We've prepared a place for you to rest before tomorrow's mystery. Remember to only disembark when your team's name is called. Guess this is supposed to be your thoughts.
I glanced at the curtain divider. For some reason, the entire contest, the teams had been kept hidden from each other. Even though apparently there had been 100 detectives at the start, it had never felt like it. Perhaps it was all a big lie and there had only been 10 detectives. There were no certainties in this contest. If I wanted to find the truth behind it, I would have to make a move soon.
Thank you for flying with mysterious air today. We'll be landing soon.
So, I had a 15-minute window. The only thing preventing us from simply walking beyond the divider wasn't a thing. It was a person called the attendant who worked for the contest. And the attendant was fallible. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
All detectives will remain seated until landing. Sorry, but you can't...
Would you hold this for me? What?
You again, Downs? I'm very sorry about this,
You have one job. One job.
It's not my fault. I have 5 people to watch over.
Unbelievable. go back to your station.
Very well.
It couldn't be right. There should have been more seats behind the divider. Where were the other teams?
So, trying to sneak a look at our premium in-flight coffee machine?
An obnoxious smirk stretched wide across the bellhop's face. Another one of the Game Master's staff members.
Sorry for laughing at you, it's just, you look really stupid right now.
I resisted the urge to punch out more of his teeth.
Oh, he was missing a tooth.
That's a bit rude of you.
You're the rude one for barging in here like you.
We'll see you in the next stage. Return to your seat. Have fun. That's my suggestion. The manager was always giving us suggestions, but they were really more like commands. There wasn't anything else for me to do. I had been defeated once again. I just wanted to see who the Game Master is.
There's no point to that.
Every question will be answered during the course of the contest. The Game Master has his plan. You wouldn't want to ruin the game, would you? You're right. I'll go back to my seat and mind my own business.
Go back to your seat. Hey, I was about to say that.
See? I'm always 2 steps ahead of you. Bellhop.
I hate you. I love customer service. I keep forgetting I have to click through the black screens.
I would have to find another way to meet him. Or maybe I'd been looking at this backwards. Maybe I needed to give him a reason to meet me. You have arrived at Vancouver Airport. Oh, there's a lot of women characters in this game. Did they hurt you? Oh yes, my feelings are hurt. That was pretty humiliating for me. Did you want to voice a female character?
I'll do her. I thought about stopping you, but you know how you are.
Do I? How am I then?
Scary. So look at that wristwatch.
Your wrist computer.
Yeah.
It's, oh my god, what was that wearable computer from the 90s? Where you could wear your computer and then I think the monitor was portable and the keyboard was like on your arm. It kind of looked like, you know, the Yu-Gi-Oh arm like thing. This? Yeah, but instead of the Yu-Gi-Oh thing, it was a keyboard.
Interesting.
What are you talking about?
There it is. Ah! Making that scary face again.
This is my normal expression. This is normal. Very normal. My recommendation is to get some rest. Your face should be cured by tomorrow. Thank you, Doctor. You're welcome. In summary, nothing was learned.
They said the chapter name. Well, Todd's is still out, so what are we gonna do tomorrow?
We all looked at our team leader.
Who looks like he's like the accused in a Phoenix Wright game.
Detective Tads. Ever since stage 3's end, he'd been meditating. The bellhop was stage 3. When did that happen?
Between the intro of the interview and on the plane, they're like, well, it's now stage 4.
It was like, what?
The bellhop had wheeled him into our room on the luggage cart. He'll get up, but if not, I've got modafinil.
Oh, I want some.
Yes. Everyone does. I hope Mr. Tads will wake up in time. I miss our mild conversations. Would have been more entertaining on the plane ride than that in-flight movie.
Oh yeah, that was the worst movie. We're missing someone else as well. Where's View?
She went off to explore Vancouver. She's never been. Neither have I.
Ah, got it.
Neither have I, have you? Yes. Isn't it nice? I've had experiences in Vancouver before. I think I'll just go to sleep and think of all the million-dollar houses that surround me. Me too.
I have to stay up. There's this annoying bug. The procedure has a dummy argument,
Multi-Dark
blah, blah, blah.
Samuses thought it was wise to use 500 points on Hydrate.
Yeah, I didn't realize my TTS would do that.
I'm trying to create my own array of detective teams and possible members based on quick mental notes from each round's debrief.
That would be really helpful.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it? But it refuses to compile. It's fine though, my brain works better at 3 a.m.
Good luck with your efforts. I've been working on something myself. Profiles for various poisoners in the contest. I just need one more mystery with poison, and I'll know at least 3 of the criminals on the other side. Excellent. I wasn't the only one who wanted to get to the truth of the contest. We were all working together. That's what it meant to be a team.
Oh my goodness. The detectives have arrived. Hello, detectives. Welcome to Gross Mountain.
It turned out Tads did not leave his meditative state in time, but his attendance was required, so he'd been wheeled out by the bellhop again. We have... Oh, that's you.
We have a mystery waiting for you. Each team gets 1 hour each, as usual. Please step inside. I'm glad you showed up, View. You want me to be View since you're already 2 people?
Sure.
You really are glad. You mean it. I do. Yes, exactly. You do.
With that odd exchange, we headed towards the building.
Who's wheeling Tads?
I was filled with a justifiable amount of confidence. After all, we had gotten this far. With this team and our skills, who was to say we couldn't win the contest? I feel like we're going through this contest and we're not seeing anything about the contest. As soon as we stepped inside...
The demo ended.
The first round of Stage 4 began.
Oh, we got an achievement for that. Complete Chapter 1. The Wolf's Meal. You're staying overnight in Vancouver. Team Tads is taken to the location of the first round of Stage 4. The mystery is about to begin.
The Game Master was a mysterious character. Though his voice was heavily filtered, his words were not. He almost had too much personality. It wasn't what you would expect from an impartial host of a contest to have.
I hope you're all comfortable. It costs a lot of money to rent this place out. You don't want to know how much. It will shock you.
I appreciate it. This is pretty cool.
Why, thank you. Compile. Damn it!
Me every day.
That good Wi-Fi at the top of the mountain.
Me trying to get any of my code to work.
Somebody stop me from hurling this computer out the window. I swear I will do it. No one's gonna stop me? No one? This mystery is called the Wolf's Meal. Dog food! Is that the solution? Did I just solve it? The solution is not dog food. It's just like sad. Here is the case file. Okay. Investigate the crime scene to fill in the summary. Great, we got nothing. As always, find clues and interview suspects to fill it in. Examine the victim to create the autopsy report. Best of luck to you detectives. I hope you have a really fun time.
Thanks, Game Master.
Talk to you later. Alright, I give up.
It's time to solve the mystery.
Right, I'm not giving up. I'm just on break.
Right. So, did you want to take charge on this investigation, View? Since our team leader is out at the moment.
There's no need to ask, Eureka.
You don't want to?
You want to do it yourself, so do it.
Well, I wouldn't argue. Let's get to work, team.
Okay, so we've got some...
Is this a real mountain in
Yes.
Vancouver?
This is a real... I've probably been there, like, I don't know, 15-ish years ago. So I cannot tell you if this is accurate to it, but it's a real place.
So they record everyone passing by the ticket checkpoint for security. That would be useful footage to have. I feel like one of these detectives should be French. It's probably in that security booth over there, but I am not going to attempt a French accent because that would be awful.
Gross mountain, eh?
Unless it's actually not. No, I'm pretty sure it is. Clock says it's 3:01 p.m.
I'm impressed you can read analog.
It's not it's not that impressive. I don't want to be that person, but can what age did you learn to read analog?
I was like 2nd or 3rd grade, so like 7-ish.
Yeah. Do kids now around that age know how to read analog?
Not.
Especially if it's analog without the numbers. Because, I mean, we've been around it long enough that I can read an analog clock even if it doesn't have the numbers.
I mean, that was kind of the point, that you have the long and the short.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough that at a glance, like, you should be within 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes is a long time to be looking at an analog
No,
clock.
as in, like, at a glance, you should have within 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought you should be able to read it.
No, you don't have to stare at it for 5 minutes.
Exactly. So what I'm wondering is, are digital clocks so prevalent now that younger children don't know how to read analog clocks?
We're getting to that point.
A small locked security booth. It was time to bust down the door with a well-placed...
Perhaps you should return to this later.
If you insist. We'd finished our initial assessment of the scene. But there was still more to discover, and we could do so with the help of our methods. Each member of the team brought their own unique signature approach. I am an expert tracker, pinpointing the origins and locations of objects and people through clues in the surrounding environment. To simply know the entire travel history of every item and person of interest in a case is often all you need to solve it. That is my method. Anodyne was a toxicologist and general practitioner. Poisonous substances, medicine, and autopsies were her specialty. To arrive at the solution of a puzzle, she had to poison herself. In a stupefied state, she is able to quickly arrive at the answer. That was her method. Struce was a cryptologist and programmer. Computers and codes couldn't hide any secrets from her. The answer to the mystery was likely a password to be cracked.
I'm not confident in her programming skills so far.
That was her method. I'd never actually seen Tads use his method. That was because it took too much time. Still, he had a powerful mind. That made him a great team leader when he wasn't meditating, at least. View's method was the best way to quickly assess the scene. Her impressive visual thinking abilities enabled her to imagine the crime scene at every possible angle. She was always the first one to find clues we had missed. Being a team leader meant knowing who was the best fit for any given task. And now it fell to me to delegate. Oh, you have to pick. Interesting.
And I wonder if because we have a time limit. So, what do you think? I would say we have two options. One, discover more evidence, or two, crack into the security booth to get the footage. Those would be. I have no idea what that does.
I would say the security booth would be.
Okay.
I think you should do her thing first, don't you? Oh, that's you.
Okay.
Oh, you're kind of locked into.
Maybe it's just because it's the first time.
Okay.
Now to get a better view.
View.
Okay. So I have to search to find all the eyes. Okay. Okay, we found them all.
Thanks, View. Now we have a more complete idea of the scene.
Yes. Okay, now we have a couple other things.
It appeared to be a container of something called Lambo cream. There was no list of ingredients anywhere to be found on the label.
Only for your elbows, by the way.
Sounds like we need a toxicologist to tell us what's in this.
Which of my teammates can tell me something about this? It could also be determined the origin. Because we don't...
Well, because she referenced, like, oh, there's no ingredients list. So it feels like, and she said, which of my teammates? So not including myself.
Okay. What were the fun things, Samus's? Look, what? Oh, I have to click ones that don't relate. Okay. I understand that now. Oh, geez, what happened to her?
I have determined this item contains toxic substances. Formaldehyde, ethanol dihydrochloride, ethylene diamine tetracetic acid. The amount of toxins in this cream are enough to cause skin rashes or death if ingested.
Luckily, I only ingested it. Gross.
Yes, indeed, the name of this mountain. Thanks.
Drunk now.
Anytime.
Oh, we've already done this one. Oh, can we now? No. Already... Okay, so we can do a different method on this now. And there's still information. So now let's try the pinpoint. Okay, so she needs more information about it before. I clicked on the same piece because it wasn't like checked off yet. So main character can do it, but she says I need more information about it first.
The door to the security booth was locked with a fingerprint reader and keypad. Maybe one of my teammates could help with this.
Eat the poison!
Lick it!
I can crack this wide open. Rotate the tumblers by clicking on the code entered from the outside in. Click the Wi-Fi to hack the target's computer and discover the code. That's a 6-digit. I don't quite understand what we're looking for.
Rotate the tumblers by clicking them. The code is entered from the outside in. Click the Wi-Fi icon to hack into the target's computer and discover the code. So if you click into passwords. What?
Yeah, the things. Which of these is a 6-digit code?
Go back. Is there anywhere else we can click on? Bonfet. It is 2017. What was 25 years ago?
So that would be 92.
And how many numbers are we looking for?
6. So if you want 921006.
Possibly. Possible, c'est possible.
That was it.
I am programmer. Et voila. Hacking's really that simple, eh? Eh?
No. This lock was created for the contest by the Game Master, that's why it was simple. But what happened to your mod view? Strauss, you don't know what you're supposed to say. I'm in after you hack something. I try not to be a walking stereotype. What do you mean? That's what hackers always say in movies. You should say it would be cool. You know what? You have a point. I'll say it next time. Good. Okay, it's now open. I unlocked the security camera footage of the passage I found on the computer. Let's review it. That doesn't look like the suspects.
So it must be the victim. Zoom! Enhance! She's holding a ski bag. One of the suspects. She's boarding the skyride at 1:15. Zoom! Enhance!
Appears so.
So our first suspect came back down at 1:30. Let's make sure to ask her about this footage. The other suspect,
Okay, we haven't filled out anything.
he went up at 1:35.
She went back up at 1:45.
I'm very confused. Still feeling the effects of the poison? Yes. Finally, some solid evidence. I had a feeling this footage was the key to solving the mystery. We should review this footage again once we've interviewed the dummies.
I want to look at the cake. I want to eat delicious cake. Yay, 25th birthday. It says there's more on the computer, though. Or is it just saying that we... No, let me skip. Thank you. It's Canada wet instead of Canada dry.
Get wet! Maybe there's poison in these sodas. Want me to check? No. You've had enough poison for one day. Aww.
Okay, we can't interview this suspect yet. They're too busy getting wet. Got a leather bag. Oh, we can just go through it because they don't care. They're dummies for this.
Empty. Not fashionable. Poor Anodyne. She was looking sicker and sicker. Should she be like taken to the hospital or something?
She is a doctor.
Yes, but should she be taking something to not get so sick?
Welcome to Gross Mountain. The current temperature, sunrise, sunset. shopping. Or you might get murdered. Does the game master realize he's damaging Grouse Mountain's reputation?
To help tourism.
Good point. People still flock to hiding house. Maybe someone getting murdered on your property is a good thing.
Let's not go that far.
Sorry. Okay, this person we can talk to. Jeez, why does their face do that? Need to look at this. Suspect.
Uspec. There are 2 items on the dummy's person. This name on the tickets must be her name. Mrs. Lamb.
Safe enough for you to assume that.
You need more evidence to talk.
Why are your teeth like that? Holy!
I don't like that.
Are you the wolf? Yeah.
Maybe there was something back in the main ticket area.
We have enough now that we can... Okay, now we can. Hey, Samus's cat has joined them.
Tracing the origin. Explore the scene of your mouse to find the path showing the most likely origin for the evidence. What is that?
This is the cream. Oh, I understand.
Lambo cream must have come from Mrs. Lamb's bag.
Lambo.
Multi-Dark Samuses thought it was wise to use 500 points on Hydrate.
I need to fix that.
The similarity in names were likely not a coincidence.
Okay, now we can go talk to Mrs. Lamb. I don't know, Sam says there's something that is supposed to be TTS. I was messing around with stuff, but also in adding it in, I probably didn't set that up right.
I've determined the origin of the cream.
You gonna tell us? No, actually, she does not.
Someone's been murdered? Well, don't look at me. I don't know anything about it.
I'm just Miss Little Uspect.
I'm just an uspec. I only just got here. The Game Master should really reconsider this way of giving us information.
Yeah, creepy.
The dummies were not very willing to participate in our investigation. This evidence would help refute her lies and get our suspect to talk. The time, I guess. The clock, I mean. This is 1:15 and 1:45. Oh, but the clock says it's 3. So she did not just get here because...
I would do this one first and
Yeah. You bought 2 tickets, did you not? Yet you claim you just arrived? Nice one there, Rika. The tickets? Thanks for reminding me. Time for my next ride. See you later, detectives. Your next ride?
Oh, we can now do 2, so we have 2 tickets, but that's not the time.
Yeah, that's not the time. Your tickets are for 1:15 and 1:45, and it's 3:01. You got me, but I'm late for something else. I must be going, really. There are plenty of other witnesses. There's really nothing about me that should capture your interest.
I'm just an Uspec.
I'm just an uspec. I'm I'm just your average person. Nothing special about me.
We need 2 items. Average. 2 tickets and cream?
2 tickets and cream, probably. Just an average person who has the same name as a cream in their purse? What's your connection to this cream? I guess an average person doesn't have a cream named after them. I can see why you may have questions. I will assist in your investigation.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
What? She's the one talking?
It's an expression.
The buns on Mrs. Lamb's chest lit up. We could now meet her properly.
What do these mean? Do you want bag of
I guess
money?
I think that's a... Is that a person?
That's like the body time.
So I guess something like, do you know what were you doing? And well, pick one. I arrived at about 1 p.m. When I found the body, it must have been maybe 2 p.m. A lot can happen in an hour.
Like murder.
That's what I was implying, yes. It's dreadful. When I went back up, I found Mrs. Wolf dead. She was dead. That's all we have to work with, I guess.
Yeah, they have beaver tails.
Ooh, I wish I could still have beaver tails.
Oh, it's her outline of shoulders and then head. It's about yourself.
Oh. Mrs. Lamb, entrepreneur at your service. I hate Sundays. I love muffins. And I'm the CEO of a new startup company. Lambo cream for your elbows.
Do robots even have elbows?
It's going to change the world.
Why does every entrepreneur I meet say that?
You're just meeting the wrong people.
Well, that's probably true, yes.
Now that we'd properly met Mrs. Lamb, we could ask her about evidence in the case file. I'm not sure there's any evidence to ask her about yet.
It's in our case file.
Nothing.
Oh, that's apparently what she's supposed to look like.
Oh, that's what she's supposed to look like, okay. That is absolutely not related to the voice that I gave her.
Okay.
Let's come back later. Yes, yes. Anatine was really starting to worry me.
Okay. So... No, we can't talk to you yet. So the only one we don't have is the computer.
Let's review it.
But this is all stuff we've seen. Okay. So she came back down. She said she was there for an hour.
But,
There's less time for her to murder Miss Wolf, right?
yeah.
So now we can... Yeah, I don't think we have anything.
I'm very confused.
Yeah, we already heard that, but... Now we can go back and ask.
Why she either lied to us or omitted information, which is, I guess, the same as lying. Ah, you found it. Yes, I came back down at 1:30. I was looking for the person I was going to meet to cancel our meeting. If she'd just said this before, she would have been much less suspicious. I had nothing else to talk about to Miss Lamb, except perhaps for some of her cream.
But it's poisoned. Okay, do we have enough to talk to? Do you know? Yes. I'm not the murderer. Please don't send me to prison. I'm just a
Pecked.
Just leave me alone. He really doesn't want to talk, huh?
Don't worry, he'll warm up to us. After we counter his lies with evidence. Objection! There were 2 items on the dummy's person.
His thumb's going through his elbow.
No, it's just sideways.
What was that? Oh, I collect. Feel free to go away now. You won't be getting my name or what I do. Are you Mr. Cabbage, an investor?
Alright. Your card says Harry Cabbage, and it says you're an investor.
Oops, how'd you find that? Well, it doesn't matter. I was just here for a meeting, not with anyone involved in the crime. Me 3.
Here for a meeting. Just
Oh, okay. Okay, this is...
for the person.
So...
Oh, that one. He's an investor.
Guess that.
And then she's the CEO of the thing. Is that possibly...
Yeah, we can try it. That makes sense to me.
So you're an investor, and Mrs. Lamb is a CEO who happened to find the body, and she happened to cancel a meeting today that she was going to have right here at Grouse Mountain. Grouse.
Like a type like bird, I believe it's based off of.
Oh.
You put 2 and 2 together, huh? Fine, I'll admit it. Still, there's no reason to be suspicious of me or my teeth. She was found dead before I arrived here. Do we have your ticket?
135.
And found dead at 2.
1... Yeah. Don't lie to me. Your ticket is for 135, and Mrs. Wolf was found dead at 2.
All right. I am a bit suspicious. Yeah, I'll say. Seems like I can't hide anything from you except my sus. Very well. I'll talk.
You did, Erica. We all did. The buttons on Mr. Cabbage's chest lit up.
I like the idea that we're just like someone's wheeling around the 5th guy this whole time.
We could now meet him properly.
What do you think he looks like after we've done all this?
Dark hair, boring looking, I guess.
I'm gonna go with suit.
Yeah, suit. Unless he's wearing a hoodie. But I don't know if that's just his mannequin model.
I think that's just the mannequin. I think he's gonna be like suit, like the slick back hair.
Uh-huh. What color?
Blonde.
Okay, I'll go with dark hair.
I'm Mr. Cabbage. I hate long walks on the beach. Oh, and I'm an investor. And I'm new to this whole investing thing. I was just here to have a meeting with Miss Lamb up at the observatory. It's a restaurant at the top of the mountain. Her favorite place to eat. It's like the bougiest thing I've heard in a while. My favorite, I only eat at the top of the mountain.
Sounds like he's met with her before.
Yeah. Apparently, someone was murdered at the mountaintop. Horrible. But I didn't see it happen. I didn't have my glasses on at the moment. Anyway, my meeting was cut short, and that is horrible too.
Oh. Is that considered blonde or
Like a light brown, dirty blonde, maybe?
or gray?
Maybe gray.
He sounds more sad about the meeting than the murder. Compassionate.
Suspicious. I got here at exactly 1:30. I remember because I thought I'd missed my meeting, so I checked my watch.
Makes sense. We'd asked Mr. Cabbage everything there was to ask. What's his profile?
I think it's supposed to be like graying
A
blonde.
graying blonde. Okay.
The soul patch.
We'd investigated the scene.
I haven't seen the body yet,
A
though.
CEO of a startup company. A fresh-faced, and I would not call him fresh-faced, but okay. Investor.
I think it's because he was new to investing.
Okay. And a murdered woman at the top of a mountain. I think we should meet the victim of this case, don't you?
Hi, I'm the victim.
Cool summary. I liked it. Good job.
Anodyne is like my D&D character with their 7 intelligence.
Thank you.
You feel like the true leader of this team.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You would think it.
I wouldn't say it.
Is it skyride time?
It's skyride time. Oh no. So far, we were well within the 1 hour deadline. I looked at Tads for any signs of life. He was completely still. We had only tried to snap him out of meditation once. He'd been pretty upset. I wanted to avoid that happening again. But we could wind up with no other option.
It's chapter 2. It's only
It's
logic.
a TTC. Oh no, it's the tram.
Yeah, the tram. Meeting the suspects, Team Tads prepares to meet the victim who's murdered at the top of Grouse Mountain. The final investigation is about to begin. Right, black screen.
It was a scenic ride, but none of us were appreciating the scenery. Strauss was glued to her computer, cursing and typing, cursing and typing. Anodyne was breathing heavily in the corner. She looked like she'd been poisoned, because she had been, by herself. View was facing the wall. She liked to do that. And apparently, even this impressive sight was not enough for Tads to come to. Going on this sky ride was a mistake.
This code is such a mess. Maybe I should give up.
Me.
You're both complaining a lot.
Don't feel down, everyone. After all, we're going up. Nobody laughed.
So, Detective Downs is going up?
What? Why was it funny now? It was the same exact joke. Get me to the victims as soon as you can.
You look bad.
I think my dosage was off. What did you take this time? Strychnine. It's my favorite poison.
Should we be concerned?
No worries. I'm a medical professional.
Eve We're Red just redeemed Hydrate. For 500 points.
The sky ride reached the top. The short ride had felt like a month of Sundays. After you.
You're team leader.
I insist.
No, you first.
Fine, you first, Struss.
No, after you.
Really, you first.
I insist.
I'm sorry. She ran past us out of the skyride towards the nearby restaurant.
That was the Canadian. They have to let everyone else through the door first. That was the joke.
Is that a Canadian
Yes.
thing? Why is that?
Because it's more polite to like hold the door open and let other people go through first.
Oh,
Politeness thing. See, how rude of her.
without Anodyne's help with the autopsy report, we could be in trouble. But the time limit was an even greater issue, so I decided we should press on without her. Looks like this is a good open space. Time to call on my teammates' assistance. So we don't have Anodyne. Not like...
I guess. Perspective? It's a new scene.
I guess so. Now to get a better view. Oh, that's you.
Did you want to do this one?
What am I supposed to do?
Find the hidden eyeballs with their mouse cursor. Let's see if I can find them. I thought that one might be.
Oh.
We need 6 more.
Oh, they just show up?
Yeah, but only if you mouse over them. There's also an audio clue.
I assume most of it would be centered around the platform. Is that if you get close to an eye, it like gets all blurry? Yeah. Move off to this side of the platform? Yeah, and then around this area. Can I look?
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, travel, and then I will...
This is far right.
Oh, jeez.
Is that something?
Oh!
Okay.
Okay, I guess that's why it was so difficult. There's... oh, that's you.
There's something by the edge of the woods worth investigating.
Got it. The Game Master's speaker. It didn't seem like he was going to help us out. The girls went to the skyride.
Simonta.
It left every 15 minutes and took about 5 minutes to reach the top of the mountain.
That'll be helpful information for timing stuff.
Mrs. Wolf's ticket. Paper's wet from the snow, but it's still legible. It confirms the date from the camera footage, 12:15 p.m. It could be beneficial to use my method on the ticket, but I needed more information first. I'd have to return to it later.
Your power kind of sucks at times, you know that? Maple.
There's the ski bag she was carrying.
No sign of skis.
Interesting. Looks like a contract.
Yes. An agreement for Miss Wolf to buy 40% of the shares in Lamb's Cream Co.
She was faster at reading than I was.
It hasn't been signed yet. Guess Mr. Cabbage isn't the only investor. The body for last.
Is this your muffin view?
Remember who said they liked muffins? No. It's mine.
definitely evidence. Mrs. Lamb.
Yeah.
There's a label on the bottom that says the observatory.
That's the restaurant over there. Cabbage mentioned it.
Right. And it was also where Anodyne had run off to. Hopefully she was okay. Wait.
I guess this is us on the...
I guess so. You can't do the muffin's origins, okay?
Okay.
We'd have to give it to Anodyne.
She's not here right now.
Looks like we have to do a bit of digging. View crouched down and quickly swept the heavy snow aside. In no time at all, the dummy had been uncovered.
Victim! I'm your Vic, Tim.
That's a lot of blood, and also your line. Yes. The victim dummies could not speak for obvious reasons. However, this was clearly Mrs. Wolf. Stabbed in the chest with a ski pole. Can we go over there?
No.
The RO, I mean?
The RO's back out.
Oh.
I think now we can do this one.
Mrs. Wolf's ticket. Papers wet from the snow, etc., etc.
Yeah. Now let's see if we can...
Tracing the origin.
Oh, it came from the restaurant. Didn't we say that?
Would it be coming from the tram? Did she drop it? What is it doing that? That's kind of concerning.
Any option other than, like... I don't think it came from that.
Oh, well, it came from her, I guess.
Come from her bag?
I don't know. No, it probably came from her then. The ticket must have come from Mrs. Wolf. It was her ticket after all.
For some reason I thought we were doing tracing the muffin.
No, we were tracing the ticket.
That's why I was like, it has to be the restaurant, right?
I've determined the origin of the ticket. We'd investigated the scene. Our case file is now complete. All the evidence has been found. The suspects have been interviewed. The victim has been examined. Hotel Travago. But because Anodyne is gone, we don't have the autopsy report. That means we'll need to figure it out ourselves.
But none of us are experienced with that.
We'll give her a chance to catch up with us later. It's time to figure this mystery out. Struce nodded. View looked less convinced. Each round had a special place to submit deductions called the mystery stage. I admit I was heading there a bit prematurely, but I didn't want to stand out in the cold any longer. Out.
Oot in the cold.
Out in the cold. The others followed me as we stepped inside.
You have entered the mystery stage. Everything you say from this point on will be monitored and recorded. Once you have stated your solution, say submit deduction. I only consider the revised version of deduction, so if you got something right and changed it later, that's on you. You have 20 minutes to submit the deduction. Begin whenever you wish. You should wait for Anodyne first.
I'm worried we won't have enough time.
There's nothing to figure out right now.
this is really all the evidence, and there's no way to solve the crime.
Well, perhaps it's a good place to start. Tell me why you think so.
Are you sure all the evidence has been found? There's no way of knowing who the murderer was. Mr. Cabbage and Miss Lamb were both at the crime scene. You're probably going to say, they both did it. But there's nothing that points to that.
Them working together. 3 evidences needed. Their tickets? Do their tickets line up? What are the other evidences?
So we've got they were both investors.
So what would point to them working together? Like working together to kill Mrs. Wolf.
Yeah. What time is it, Mrs. Wolf?
Wait. Okay. What did the things say? So my meeting was cut short. I got here at exactly 1:30. I came back down at 1:30.
Those don't... Is that part of it? They came back down because they were meeting.
Because they were meeting, so they had to be working together. Right?
What's the third piece then? So they got here at 1:30. Just that, and that they were in a meeting that was cut short. I guess let's try it.
My meeting was cut
So
short.
they got here at 1:30 to have a meeting, and the meeting was cut short. Because of murder?
I guess.
Because the contract doesn't show anything. Or is it that he's an investor? But then we'd need 4, that he's the investor and she's...
And she, yeah.
Oh wait, what's this? No worries, thank you. Both for... Slam. Yes, let's see what she says when we do those 3.
Okay. Nothing that points to Cabbage and Lamb working together. Maybe you're wrong.
You should show some proof then.
There wasn't anything super concrete that could prove her wrong, but there was something that Mrs. Lamb had to have lied about.
Okay, so
We got that wrong. Okay. What did Mrs. Lamb... Wait. So it's gotta be something that Mrs. Lamb said, and then something that contradicts what she said. So would it be... What did she say?
She said, I found Mrs. Wolf dead at 2 p.m.
We don't have an autopsy report. I don't think we can disprove this statement.
Okay.
We don't have a time of death. I arrived at about 1 p.m. Her first tickets for 1:15.
That's close enough if it leaves every 15 minutes. But I don't think there's anything with that statement.
I'm the CEO of a new cream company. I came back down at 1:30 to look for the person I was going to meet and cancel our meeting.
I came back down at 1:30.
But they had the meeting because the meeting was cut short. So she didn't cancel it, and they in fact had the meeting.
Okay. Came back down at 1:30, but her tickets are... Wait.
If she came down at 1:30, it leaves every...
She said it took... Larika says it takes 5 minutes.
And it goes every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So if she gets up, she wouldn't... She immediately has to head back down, essentially. The security cam footage and she gets off at 1:31. Okay, so those times line up. So what's the third evidence we need? Came down at 1:30 to cancel. The meeting was cut short. Oh, is it the muffin that they went to her favorite restaurant? Or... Or is it the fact that there's this contract?
For Mrs. Wolf to buy...
So she had multiple meetings.
Mrs. Lamb and Mr. Cabbage working together.
And something that she lied about in her statement. Like, these two I think fit. She was going to cancel the meeting with Mr. Cabbage, but Cabbage says they had the meeting, it was cut short.
So what did...
So last time we did one Cabbage statement 1, Lamb statement 4, and that the meeting was cut short. Like, is it just that he's the investor then?
Why would that point to them working together, though?
Because she's looking for investors.
Who is? Mrs. Lamb?
The times line up with the security cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the cream does anything. can't link the ski pole or the blood or the ski bag. She said she liked muffins, but
how does that point to them working together?
yeah. The contract isn't between Cabbage and Lamb.
So Mrs. Wolf and Lamb.
But I would say it's either CEO or investor.
Wait. I came back down. Down is where the restaurant is, or where
the ticket area is.
So where the ticket area is down.
So the restaurant is at the top.
Okay, so we're at the top right now.
Yes.
So I got here at exactly. She says that she got here.
She came down at 1:30.
She came down on 1:30.
Which the video evidence corroborates. She was there seeing coming off at 1:31.
And then she bought a ticket for 1:45.
Mm-hmm. Which would get her back up there for 150.
For 150.
So she could, in fact, have found the body at 2.
At 2. Okay.
But also, we're talking about them working together.
Okay. Wait, nothing points to Mrs. Lyman. So, isn't that basically the same thing of I'm a cream, blah.
Go to the left for his investor.
He's an investor.
Cream?
No, and to look for the person I was going to meet.
Let's try those two.
I guess so. It's a little vague. Mrs. Lamb's statement about not seeing Mr. Cabbage was suspicious. If I could just show solid proof that Mrs. Lamb was lying. Something that showed Mrs. Lamb and Mr. Cabbage. Ugh. So, she's saying... Larika's saying that... Her saying that she didn't see Mr. Cabbage is wrong. Why would she say that? Is it because Mr. Cabbage said that my meeting was cut short and then... Right?
So they're talking security footage, it sounds like.
What do you mean?
Because the thing was, if only had something that showed them, implying that you need a visual.
Well, not necessarily. It just show, like...
Okay.
You know. Because you could also just show the card or the tickets or... You know? So is she saying... Let me see. Where... Oh. The statement about not seeing Mr. Cabbage was suspicious. So if... What did she say?
Click the book icon.
Mrs. Lamb's statement about not seeing Mr. Cabbage was suspicious. Because... If I could just... So she said
She was going to cancel.
Our meeting, but I came back down at 1:30. But he says he also got here at 1:30. And that their meeting was cut short.
That was the first one we tried.
These three?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What? So is it the security footage then? Like how does this show then? Because 11:59.
That's Miss Lamb coming in, Miss Lamb leaving. That's Cabbage going up. And then if you scroll down more, then Miss Lamb going in.
So would that be... Would it be this then?
She's going to cancel the meeting. They had the meeting, and we approved that she came back in after she said she was going to cancel it. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Cabbage took the sky ride at 1:35. Mrs. Lamb came down at 1:30. Their statements about the meeting are suspicious. I have evidence that shows both of them were in the same place.
Their tickets? And the camera footage, maybe?
What?
Because that proves they both went in and we have the camera footage showing that they used their tickets.
No.
What?
Wait. Mr. Cabbage took the sky ride at 1:35. Mrs. Lamb came down at 1:30. Oh. So she's saying Mr. Cabbage was already on the way up at 1:35. Mrs. Lamb came down at 1:30. So their statements about the meeting are suspicious. What do you mean their statements about the meeting are suspicious? She went back down at 1:30. And he went up at 1:35. I came back down at 1:30. So we did this the first time?
Try it again.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that try it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand. Why is it so difficult?
Yeah.
Ms. Lamb's Skyride tickets were for rides at 1:15 and 1:45. $1:15. I came back down at 1:30.
Is it that those two statements plus her two tickets? Plus both tickets?
And then the meeting was cut short? Did we do this one?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Can we try ticket,
Ticket.
and then her statement that I came...
No. Ticket, Mr. Cabbage? What the hell? I don't understand.
At least we're not losing hearts anymore for this.
Oh no, because I'm cheating.
Oh.
Because it's a visual novel, so you can just go back. What do you suggest we do?
So how are you cheating?
Oh, anytime you do it wrong, you just go back up, because it's a visual novel.
Go back up.
If you scroll up, it just goes back through all of this. So technically, you can put all our hearts back.
I see. That's funny.
I've played too many visual novels to know that that's a thing. Perhaps you should have taken the time to what have you done?
So it was... Geez, can I get this now? It was those two and camera footage, was it? Yeah.
Is that good?
Yes, this...
What? Well, sorry. Let's go back. I need to see. What is it? Camera footage and...
Those two statements.
Getting here at exactly... I feel like we did that. Did we not do that?
I think we did tickets.
Oh, God. Okay. Perhaps you should have taken the time to put more thought into that, eh?
Oh, you're right.
Oops.
Slam said she didn't see him, which would make sense if he boarded the Skytrain at the same time. Clearly went up after she'd come down.
Isn't it strange? Her meeting was for 1:30, and he arrived within 5 minutes and boarded the Sky Ride in plain view. How could she not spot him? Was she staring at the wall? I think she's lying.
Okay, maybe she met with him. However, that doesn't prove they were working together. It makes Miss Lamb suspicious. You don't know why she would lie about meeting Mr. Cabbage. There's no reason for her to do so.
Why would she lie about meeting with him?
'Cause murder. The contract?
Contract, maybe? Because he's an investor and... Yeah.
Should I have?
Remember the contract?
I don't get it. The contract wasn't signed, so it's perfectly fine for her to meet with Mr. Cabbage to discuss other options, right?
Exactly. It wasn't signed. Therefore, Mrs. Wolf and Mrs. Lamb were about to sign it. Which means their talks must have been at their closing point. And yet, Mrs. Lamb had scheduled a meeting with Mr. Cabbage, another investor.
Ah, I see. You're right, Larika. It's suspicious. But Miss Lamb doesn't have a motive, right? She's about to close a deal with Miss Wolf. Why would she kill her?
There's no motive for Mrs. Lamb to kill Miss...
Poison? Is poison a reason?
What's the blood?
Blood.
Blood, okay. What would be... What are her statements?
2 p.m., 1 cream company came back to cancel.
She was about to close the deal. I guess the cream? Because her cream is filled with toxic chemicals?
These are getting easier, eh? Lambo cream. Think you have a point?
I do think I have a point. Remember, Anodyne told us that this cream is full of toxic substances. Do you really think anyone would buy this product?
I wouldn't. It's gross. You're right.
Yes, so if Mrs. Wolf found out about how many toxins were in her product, she would have backed out, right? A big investor like her would have scared away all of the others. In summary, my thinking is... Mrs. Wolf confronted Mrs. Lamb with her concerns about the product when she arrived. Mrs. Lamb had planned for this and had lined up Mr. Cabbage for a meeting afterwards just in case, but Mrs. Wolf threatened to tell him and everyone else, so Mrs. Lamb killed her. They were all stunned by my brilliant deduction.
That sounds about right.
Yes.
But there's just one thing. Mrs. Lamb didn't really have time to kill Mrs. Wolf, did she? Skyra takes about 5.5 minutes. Mrs. Lamb went up at 1:15, came back down at 1:30. So she had like 3 minutes at most? Is that really enough time to be confronted by Miss Wolf, take her over to the secluded area, and pierce her with the ski pole?
She came back up again.
She came back again, yeah.
That plus security footage?
Nothing? It shows that she was there.
Try it? Yeah.
No.
So I want to try that.
Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't just stabbed.
Oh, and the poison.
And the poison, yeah.
Yeah.
The muffin? How does that have anything to do with what I said?
Well, Mrs. Lamb may not have had enough time to stab someone, but she could offer them a muffin.
Think it was poisoned? How can you prove?
The muffin wasn't poisoned, but as we've established, Lambo cream is full of toxins, and it looks a lot like frosting.
Oh, ew, no, no, I don't like this.
Yes. She spread the Lambo cream on a muffin, gave it to Mrs. Wolf, and bought herself some time. Then she went back up and found that Mrs. Wolf hadn't died. That's when she stabbed her.
That muffin has no cream on it. So...
Ah, that's because the muffin we found belongs to Mrs. Lamb. She got herself a muffin too, but a non-frosted one. Mrs. Wolf ate her entire poisoned muffin. That was the wolf's meal.
Taking the muffin for yourself as well would seem less suspicious. It's convincing. I don't know. I'd like to have the autopsy report first. Oh, you're back.
Well... She...
Is missing an arm?
Yeah, it looks like she's disabled. She...
Take care, Samus.
Her outfit is very, Assassin's Creed coded.
Oh, yeah.
I can help with that. Anodyne! I was able to purge a majority of the strychnine from my system.
Not to strict one. Don't tell me more, please.
I've examined the victim. Here's the autopsy report. You can read that.
Cause of death unclear. Time of death 1 to 2 p.m. External examination. Victim was stabbed with a sharp pointed object, resulting in severe hemorrhaging. Internal examination. Victim shows signs of having been poisoned. Autopsy performed by Marie Anodyne. Oh, do we have a... This is the victim, by the way. I don't think we ever looked at her.
That is not at all what I expected her to look like.
Nope. Okay. So we now have the autopsy report.
One more thing, the muffin at the scene wasn't poisoned, right? The muffin in the snow? No, it was free of any poisons or toxins. Then I believe everything's been accounted for.
You laid out a plausible scenario. Let's submit it then. We haven't used the other guy at all.
Yeah, wait for it. It was a bit too good to be true. Just in case. Anodyne, do you know what poison was in the victim's system? It was a funny coincidence. Just like me, Mrs. Wolf had also been poisoned with a small dose of strychnine?
I'm the murderer.
So it was easy for me to recognize. Ah. Strychnine. But that completely threw off my theory. Poisoned and stabbed. They really wanted to make sure she was dead.
Ulrika, strychnine wasn't in the Lambo cream.
This is not ideal. The Game Master was a bit lenient about our solutions. We could get a small detail wrong and he wouldn't mind. However, she didn't use Lambo cream, then maybe I was wrong about how toxic it was. And if I was wrong about that, then the rest of my theory falls apart. Maybe my entire theory did rest on Lambo cream after all.
Someone breathing behind me. It's him.
Tads was back.
Well, that was chapter. We got a whole nother chapter, it looks like. Or is it gonna end the demo?
Oh my god, is it gonna end the demo? I'm totally gonna want to get this then. This is where it ends.
Alright, black. No? You have to keep going. Are you useless? Well, thank you, game. I didn't think that, but now. Detective Downs thought she'd come up with the right solution to the mystery until Anodyne's autopsy revealed a huge problem with her theory. Tad's awake, they might have a chance to turn it around. The final deduction's about to begin.
The few times I'd talked to Tads, he had impressed me with his insights. I wondered what fascinating knowledge he would share. Maybe he could turn this around.
He just goes back to sleep. He's just, meditating again.
Oh, well. Back to the matter at hand.
Ulrika, your theory.
I know. Maybe it could still be defended. This doesn't change much. Anodyne's sacrifice helped prove it. Even if it wasn't spread with the cream, Mrs. Lamb still had a motive to kill Mrs. Wolf.
You don't see the difference, huh?
As I said, there is no difference. Just a different poison.
You had access to strychnine. Why'd you come back at 2 p.m. and stab her? You just killed her with a higher dose of strychnine.
Ugh. View was using my own tactics against me. Perhaps it was to create an alibi.
No, it only makes her look more suspicious. Should have killed her, and simply left and let Mr. Cabbage discover the body. Every murderer knows never to return to the scene of the murder unless absolutely necessary.
Maybe Mrs. Lamb is just not a very good murderer.
Maybe.
Even I wasn't buying my own words. Wasn't there anything I could do?
Once upon a time.
What? Excuse me?
There was a farmer who purchased a wolf, a lamb, and a cabbage at the market. But returning home, he came across a river. In his little boat, he could only take one of his items across with him. But he left the wolf with the lamb, the wolf would eat it. He left the lamb with the cabbage, the lamb would eat it.
So how could he safely carry all three of his items to the other side? Oh, I've heard this one before.
Wolf, lamb, cabbage.
Exactly. Entire mystery contains a massive hint. Game Master's practically telling us the solution. Well, the solution to that particular puzzle doesn't fit here, I know.
It sounds like you have a theory.
I do. A game theory.
Then let's hear it.
Consider it this way. Larica must be wrong, because the lamb cannot eat the wolf. the lamb? Or the wolf?
The wolf, I guess.
The wolf?
I don't know. A murdered victim. This was ridiculous. A meta hint to the real solution?
No,
Maybe they're all wrong.
No, it's the cabbage.
I think that when I do consider it, you are actually wrong. Because if Mrs. Lamb didn't kill Mrs. Wolf, then you're trying to suggest Mr. Cabbage did? But following your own logic, Mr. Cabbage cannot eat Mrs. Wolf. He's a cabbage.
You're thinking too literally. I invite you to consider the relation between the components of the puzzle. Wolf eats lamb. Lamb is delicious. Lamb eats cabbage. Wolf and cabbage are neutral. They do not care about one another, right?
He doesn't care, so he has no motive.
But what if something did make Mr. Cabbage care?
Like what?
You said it yourself earlier. The contract. If Mr. Cabbage overheard Miss Lamb and Miss Wolf talking, you know that Miss Wolf was about to become a huge shareholder in the company. But he wouldn't have had time. Because he got here at 1:30 and he didn't go up until then.
Which... Mr. Cabbage overheard... What are we trying to dispute here?
That Mr. Cabbage overheard Miss Lamb and Miss Wolf.
His meeting was cut short, I guess.
Because I was thinking it was something that she's already back down, but he arrives at 1:30. Whether that's the footage, like, when he goes up, she's already down. So he can't have overheard. Maybe the footage?
No. What was it?
That he got here at exactly 1:30.
Cabbage arrived at exactly 1:30 and didn't go up until 1:35. That's after Mrs. Lamb and Mrs. Wolf met, which would have been around 1:20. So he would not have overheard them, right?
Exactly 1:30? Think about it this way. If Mr. Cabbage is the killer, then it puts all his statements into doubt. No solid evidence that he arrived at 1:30. Hold on a sec. Who cares about his statement? What about the camera footage? It's better proof than any statement.
Are you sure about that? You're the one who said the keypad to the security booth was simple, and we weren't given all of the footage. the sky ride doesn't start running at an odd time like 12.
Okay, true, but Mr. Cabbage is still very clearly in this footage going up. He can't have gone up without also coming down, right? Are you saying he tampered with the timestamp? Have him going up at 1:34. Day is the same.
Wait, go back. Go. Are the intervals all funky?
It looks like it's always at 4 minutes, like 14, 24, 34. That we have a picture of it going up. We only have the one coming down at 1 pass.
So is that odd?
You submitted the footage and that wasn't it, right?
No.
Date on it. So we have his ticket. Something clearly showed that wasn't possible.
That clearly showed what wasn't possible.
Tampering with the timestamps.
Wait, no, go back and finish what she's saying. Is that it?
That's it, yeah. Something shows tampering with the timestamps is impossible. So we've tried, it's not his ticket, it's not the security footage. And his only statements are arrived exactly at 1:30, and my meeting was cut short.
What haven't we tried?
We've only tried his ticket, and security cam footage. I was wondering if there's going to be her tickets then.
Mrs. Lamb's?
Yeah, or her saying that she came down at 1:30. You had two things selected,
Oh.
and it only needs one. I'm
Oh,
not sure why it lets
sorry.
you submit like that, but
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to tell you.
Something clearly showed that wasn't possible. Oh. Something that shows
The clock.
tampering.
Is the clock in the background of these? Of the footage? Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It's, yeah.
Oh. Good eye.
Deselect the footage.
No. The clock confirms the exact time. He would have had to change both the clock and the timestamp. It's too much to assume.
Oh, now there's too much to assume. Fine, I'll start over then. Mr. Cabbage is still clearly in this footage going up, but he can't have gone up without also coming down. Are you saying he erased the footage of himself coming down? Miss Wolf arrived at the top of the mountain at 12:06, Miss Lamb at about 1:21. According to your theory, you heard them speaking about the contract. You would need to come back down after that. There's about 5 minutes between Miss Lamb towards a sky ride to leave the mountain, and we see him board one to go up. Sky ride takes 5.5 minutes. Then you're saying he broke in and erased some footage. He simply didn't have enough time to go all the way back down the mountain. He skied
down. Is it possible? There are no skis in her bag. The Canadian way. You may want to reconsider your premise. There's a piece of evidence we've never talked about. The ski bag. We know it was full when Mrs. Wolf went up because of the footage, but now it's empty and the only thing left is the ski pole.
Wait, you mean... Yes, she does. You've got it, Larica.
He skied down the mountain. No need for him to erase any more footage.
I see. I'm on board with this theory now. You need to rethink something. There's a problem. The killer never returned to the scene of the murder without a good reason. Mr. Cabbage went back up at 1:35. What was the reason? Yeah, why did he need to go back up?
Why did he need to go back up?
Yeah, why did he have to go back to the scene of the crime? So if he was already up there, killed her, skied back down, why would he go back up?
Because... Why did he need to go back up? To
retrieve the muffin.
To plant a muffin. I don't know. Yeah, it's to plant a muffin so that... Yeah, what if he was there to plant a muffin at the scene? It feels sloppy for the killer to leave behind, right? After all, we would never have suspected poison was involved in the case if it hadn't been there. But Anodyne told us it was not poisoned. I think it was planted to throw us off. That muffin is not the muffin Mrs. Wolf ate, and Mr. Cabbage forgot to put it there the first time. That's why he returned.
That is plausible.
Sorry to do this, Larica, but there's something... Go ahead. We've been assuming he poisoned and stabbed her at the same time, to really make sure she was dead. But as you were talking, I realized that the body was found buried in the snow. I hadn't been there when you discovered it, you see, so I thought it had been left in the open air. If she was buried in snow, the poison dissolves slower. That changes my estimation of when she was poisoned to be slightly earlier. From 1 to 2 p.m. to 12 to 1 p.m. Dun, dun, dun. Team Ted's? Oh, that's you.
The 20 minutes are up. You'll have to submit your deduction now, or I'll kick you out of the contest. Sorry.
Crap. Just when I thought we'd had it. I'd have to improv my way to the answer.
You can do it, Marika. If you think so, then I do as well.
Yeah.
Please tell me I didn't just ruin everything.
I feel like this is going to be one of the like Danganronpas where you have to like give the like this order everything happened in with the like storybooks.
I could do it.
You're ready to submit?
I am.
If we say no, we're dead anyways, so.
Great. I would love to hear your team's solution.
Mr. Cabbage arrived early, let's say 11:45 a.m. What is this?
We have to pick one.
I guess Mr. Cabbage? He was planning to kill Mrs. Lamb with... Oh, we have to pick. I guess the poison?
Yeah, because he had to come back to plant it.
Well... No. The ski pole? The muffin? A poisoned muffin, which he was later going to swap with a non-poisoned muffin. However, when he got there, he saw that a big-time investor was waiting for someone, too. Big-time investor, I guess, was Mrs. Lamb?
Is it the big time investor or they were waiting for someone?
That's vague. This wording is vague. When he asked her about it, Mrs. Wolf told him too much. She even talked about
The contract.
that. So he decided to poison her instead. That poison molecule thing? Oh. Instead of the poison, instead of the person he was waiting to meet.
Now it's her.
So leaving Mrs. Wolf heaving, he quickly left the scene using some stolen equipment.
Maple.
Mrs. Lamb arrived and bought a ticket. But when she got to the top, she actually never met the person she was going to meet. So who was Mrs. Wolf? Not Mr. Cabbage, as we assumed. Mr. Cabbage, sorry. Meanwhile, Mr. Cabbage had snuck into the security booth and finished erasing the footage of himself arriving. But then he realized he'd forgotten to plant the unpoisoned muffin at the scene. So he went back up again. Once he got there, though, he was horrified to discover Mrs. Wolf was not dead yet, convulsing on the ground from the poison. So he finished the job by stabbing her with the ski pole. Finally, he went to cut a deal with Mrs. Lamb about her product.
Cream, I guess?
Unfortunately, their meeting was cut short when someone discovered the body. I think that covers everything.
Interesting. Is there any way to prove Mr. Cabbage was there earlier?
The Game Master raised a good point. There wasn't actual definitive proof, but maybe there was a piece of evidence that could lead to finding proof if investigated. Ah, yes. Mr. Cabbage purchased something at the nearby restaurant. The odd piece of evidence that he was going to use to divert suspicion. By looking at the receipt for the muffin, you can confirm he was there earlier.
Case closed. What if he didn't get a receipt? He paid cash.
I was gonna say, when was the last time you bought something from a cafe and was like, yeah, give me my receipt?
B rank. Or is that a fancy D? I think that's a B, because it's got...
Yeah, it's not bad, so it's B. Incorrect deductions for...
We can just skip a whole theory.
Probably, because we could have just submitted that. Yeah.
Interesting. Hey, congrats, Team Tads. Looks like you did it.
Deadbeard just redeemed Hydrate. For 500 points.
I need to fix that so it only does that for when it's supposed to.
The lights around the mystery stage shut off one by one.
Yeah, TTS is working. It's not supposed to do that for all the channel point redeems, but it's working.
I could hear Struce sighing loudly beside me. This was definitely not my favorite part of solving the mystery either.
Yes, it was me. I murdered Miss Wolf. My entire savings are riding on making a life-changing investment. I'd planned to kill Miss Lamb to become the sole owner of Lamb's Creams. Until I met Miss Wolf. Miss Wolf got to her first, she'd have had a massive stake in the company. I couldn't risk it. Lambo Cream will hit it big. I had to have it all. Only the body hadn't been discovered so quickly. My life was gonna change.
Cabbage?
Lamb?
Where have you been? I was trying to tell you. My cosmetic notification form was just rejected by Health Canada. It has too many toxic components. It cannot be approved for sale.
What? Are you telling me I did all of this for nothing?
Did what?
I guess murder is bad.
Oh! The lights came back on and the actors left the stage. I'm Team Health Canada. The Game Master played an applause sound effect. It lasted a very long time.
And was quite loud. I love the idea that he hires people to be actors for this, to act out the conclusion.
Now that was real acting. She wiped a tear from her cheek.
I'm glad you loved it. You know, I have a way of ranking these mysteries by difficulty. This mystery was rated 1 star. I see. The hardest difficulty. No. I'm afraid 1 star is the easiest difficulty. What? Don't worry about it. You figured it out in the end, even if it took the whole hour. Let's see how you did.
Struce was eyeing the screens intensely.
Team Amazing Team!
Ooh.
Second place. Not bad. Time's up on this mystery. We've hacked into a solution. Answer was seen and appraised. They all look like their dumb catchphrase.
The problem has been cured. Perfect trace to the conclusion.
That's very nice. So let me tell you more about this round. The theme for this round is usefulness. You'll now be asked to vote who
in your team is the most useless? Detective Downs, you first.
The most useless?
Because remember, every time you complete a thing, your team gets cut down. We originally 10 detectives.
What? Oh my god, I didn't even...
I hadn't figured out how we were getting cut either.
Oh god.
I forgot about that entirely.
I forgot about that too. And I thought it was teams, not...
It was both are getting cut down at the same time.
Ugh. I couldn't hear you over the sound effects.
Oh, sorry. Vote here. Oh, and it's a secret ballot. Thanks.
I stepped into the booth. Who is the most useless? The Game Master always made us vote in one of these odd polls after each round, but this one was more malicious than usual. The most useless member of the team? The greatest strength of our team was that everyone had a purpose. That hadn't been true before, but as each stage whittled us down, I truly believed that every single member of the team was contributing. But abstaining was not an option. Who to vote for?
Who is the most useless?
What if you vote for yourself?
I was thinking that. Want to do ourselves?
Let's see. I want to see what happens if you vote for yourself. I was surprised to find I could vote for myself, but it was the best answer I could give. I didn't want to sell out my teammates, and it was true I hadn't been at peak performance. Still, I got there eventually, and I'd helped guide the team, but it was too late. I'd already cast a vote. I left the booth and waited as the others went in, one by one.
This is a game over.
It didn't take long. They all voted for me.
A very interesting answer to my very interesting question. Thanks. You can share your answers with each other or not. Up to you. Please depart in the Skyride within the next 5 minutes so that the next team will not be disturbed. Bye now. Phew. I'm so relieved.
Me too.
How are you feeling, Anodyne?
I'll need to take additional measures back at the hotel room. I won't go into details. Too bad your code's not finished, Struce. But I hope you took down the other team's stats. My voice trailed off as I realized she was smirking.
My code has worked since yesterday. I was just saying that to throw off the Game Master. Since to know he's always listening. So that's why you kept complaining. You weren't just being annoying after all. Yeah, every time I'm being annoying in the future, you can assume it's because I have a secret agenda. Good to know. Forgot to say, I'm in. Just say it. Just say it now, yes? I didn't hack into anything, though. Writing a program isn't the same as hacking. You know that, right? Of course.
This means we'll have an accurate list of all the teams.
I've been trying to figure out all the point systems as well. Should be able to predict how to get as many points as possible based on our past rankings and total points.
Well, that's too complex to think about for me, but have fun!
I will. We should head out. Feel the Game Master looking at us with irritation.
Indeed.
Deadbeard thought it was wise to use 500 points on Hydrate.
We left the mystery stage. View walked along beside me.
Did you enjoy being the leader, Larica?
Did you enjoy it?
You didn't?
I did enjoy it, but that doesn't matter if you thought I did a bad job.
Why? So leader should please everyone at all times?
So you weren't pleased then?
Were you trying to please everyone?
No, I was trying to keep within the time limit. The best way to please everyone is to meet our goals.
That goal was met.
Yes. So you are pleased?
You know the answer then.
Yes, I suppose I do. I didn't really have an idea. Which in a way meant that I did, in fact, know. What was that conversation? We joined the rest of the team in the Skyride. It would have been nice to know who everyone voted for, if they all were as displeased with me as View was. But I never found out.
Okay, we have like a retrospective or something with Canada Wet.
What?
So Anodyne votes for
Bruce votes for View. Votes. Who's D?
who's T?
Tad.
Ted.
Who are we missing?
So Anodyne. So Strauss is the.
Well, there's no D. There should...
Down us.
Oh, down.
So Anodyne. So we stopped it.
We stopped what?
They made a chain of voting for someone else, and we voted for ourselves.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if the cyclic is there or something. I don't know. I don't know what this is supposed to mean though.
Okay. The vote was in. Alright, you scoundrels, stop watching. Oh. I guess you can do that.
This is not who I thought the game master would. Alright, you scoundrels, stop watching funny videos on the computer and come look at this. Hacker oh, there's different game masters.
Oh.
You voted for Downs. Downs voted for herself. Tad's voted for himself. Struce voted for View. Anodyne voted for Struce. No need to shout. You can all see it. Yes, there's more than one game master. I often wish there were only one. I didn't mean to shout. I just like it. We all like it. But they don't. They'd like it less if they knew the true purpose behind this vote. I'm sad we had to make them do this. At the same time, it's interesting. Because something is happening. So boring to watch them solve that mystery. Boring? I like to see how they think. Like watching rats in a maze. No, they aren't rats, they're people. They aren't an experiment. It's just an expression. I don't like it. It has no compassion. Furtive and conservative objector leaves bygones, adds hat. What? Oh great, it was the eccentric billionaire guy again. Nobody ever knew what he was talking about. It was best to ignore him. Traston. My name isn't Traston. It's Foncé, okay? Spelled with an E. Is that accent to you? Or grave? I always forget which is which.
À droite. Accent à droite. Parce que la ligne est à droite.
See, I look at this and think it's going to the left because I see down as progress, then up as progress. But that's me.
I don't know. I never remember.
Yeah. I also never remember because I call the two dots the umlaut, which is the German name, and I never remember what the French name is for it. Consistent weariness.
What? No. Excellent.
There's accent aigu, accent grave. Circumflex is the hat.
Circumflex, yeah. Isn't that what
That's
it
the
is?
hat.
Oh,
That's the chevron on top.
okay.
And then there's the bottom half 5. I never remember what that
À
was called.
gauche?
A gauche.
I don't know. I don't
A
remember.
gauche should be the opposite because a gauche should be to the left.
Go to the left, right.
No, left.
Pick you.
I think he's trying to tell us something. This is painful. Fine, you're all very boring. Thank you, sir. All I mean is that we are not scientists and they are not rats. Do not treat detectives as subjects of study. We are teachers. Remember that. What are we teaching them? We are teaching them who is the best detective, of course. Utterly confusing as always. As much as they could irritate me, at least the others made sense. I didn't learn who the best detective was. I got through almost all of your lousy contests and didn't get a t-shirt for it. She's standing right next to you. Hello. She lost. Yes, she lost dignity. Alright. I see this all just to make fun of me. I understand. Still mad about the stunt I pulled in round 3? That was a comical moment. I don't hold grudges. Game Master Conver, can you please remove the autopsy report? Memo lacking terminologies. Does that mean yes? Yes, it doesn't. This mystery only highlighted how unfair it is for one team to have a medical expert. Won't happen. Most of the other teams don't even manage to unlock it anyway. No! I will never get rid of the autopsy report. Never, ever, 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 ever. Who's heard of a murder with no autopsy? It's highly suspicious. At least, fine, it's fine. At least unlock it automatically for everyone? Yes. You can't just automatically know things. It's unrealistic. That's why my competitions make them piece together everything just like real life. Okay. Be more realistic if they could actually interview the suspects instead of hearing pre-recorded sound bites from uncanny mannequins. But I guess they'd solve your mysteries right away, yes? Keep noticing, I'm facing extinction. What is that? Just use the metaphor. I would like to help you, but I don't know what you mean. Are you okay, Mr. Crosswords? I'm a horrible person. No, you're not. You're totally fine. No! Tell me I'm horrible. You want a bunch of women to tell you you're horrible? Is this a fetish or something? Huh. Team Pemmican needs our attention, Saul. It's Cup Coaster systemization time. I hope they don't struggle with this mystery. It's a bit complex. Complex, really? I gave it 1 star. Oh yes, but that's you. You know, it's full of twists and turns. What twists? What turns? They were tying their own brains into knots. There was no need, and the solution is so incredibly simple. Keep saying that. I like the mystery. Stop hating the thing I like. Been around long enough, nothing impresses you. Life loses its shine. You're young. You don't get it. I don't ever want to get it. I don't want it. You can have it all to yourself. Why, thank you. I will. Wow, I was surrounded with these youthful 20-whatevers. It's like I was on some soapy TV show. The detectives I knew weren't attractive at all. They were ugly and proud of it. That experience showed in the lines in their faces, showed in the wounds on their skin and the stains on their boots. Where were those detectives who would understand? Fonse, can you? Never mind. Except for Mar, I liked her. Can I what? Tell me the password. It seems I logged myself out somehow. It's pseudo
hypoparathyroidism 1 2 3 4 5.
It's missing a special character. Sorry, you're gonna need to spell that out for me. Do you know what that is?
Hmm?
Do you know what pseudo
Hypoparathyroidism?
Something with your thyroid. That's all I get from that.
Well, hypo would imply that something is over.
So probably like an enlarged thyroid. But it's pseudo.
So
It's a fake enlarged.
para would be like beyond, so even more enlarged.
But it's fake beyond enlarged thyroid. 1 2 3 4 5.
Is that right? Like, okay.
Can I use your computer? PSE. This was the Billionaires Contest. We were all just along for the ride. Aha! I'm in. That was case file 1.
That was pretty good. I like this.